Hello, my name is Les Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. I want to tell you something. You are more powerful than cancer. Hey, come on, Les. That's right. I know that cancer is perhaps the most feared word in any language. No one ever want to hear the words, "You have cancer." I never forget when I found out. In fact, I was doing a prostate cancer awareness program. I heard about General Norman Schwarzkopf, Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte having prostate cancer. I was on the radio in New York City, and I decided to have an awareness program and called a doctor to be my expert. He said, "Let me ask you, Mr. Brown, how old are you?" I said, "I'm 52. He said, "Have you had a prostate examination?" I said, "No, I haven't." "Well, you should have been having them years ago. So why don't you come in and have the test so you are able to speak from experience. You want to encourage guys to do something that you haven't done." I said, "Okay, no problem." I came in. I talked to him about being my expert on the radio. 3 days later, he called me back. He said, "Mr. Brown." I said, "Yes." "What made you come in?" I said, "Well, I told you I'm going to do an awareness program, and I'd like to have you as my expert." He said, "Let me ask you a few questions. Have you been suffering from lower back pain?" So I said, "No." He said, "What about getting up in the middle of the night urinating?" I said, "No." I said, "Hold a minute. Why are you asking me these questions?" He said, "Well, I just want you to come in. I want to talk to you about the results." "No, tell me now. I'm no kid. I'm not thin-skinned. Just tell me what's going on." He said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You have prostate cancer." I said, "What?" He said, "You have prostate cancer." I said, "Come on. Wow." Really, at first, it didn't really sink in. Went in to take some other tests and had that horrible test that they give us when they check your prostate. If you've ever had the experience, you know what I'm talking about. Woo! And they confirmed it. And then I had to determine what I was going to do. And I must say that it was frightening. But I had to do some things, and I'm going to share this with you. Number one, someone said to me in the midst of all of that, "Mr. Brown, I think I was sleeping in the airport." The lady woke me up and she said, "I heard you had prostate cancer." I said, "Yes." She said, "You're going to find that it's a gift." I said, "Excuse me?" I take exception to that. And she went on about her business. And I really took exception because my mother died of breast cancer, and it was a horrible disease. But here's what I found out that she meant. A gentleman by the name of Dr. Schultz. He said, cancer is a gift because it gives you an opportunity to become responsible, to become enlightened, and to become empowered. This is absolutely true. See, what I did was, rather than just take the first thing that was suggested to me of what I should do, I became responsible, and I started doing research, trying to find out what are the things that I need to do. What kind of danger was I in? I started reading everything I could. I started asking people questions, people who had already gone through it. I asked them, "What did you do?" Somebody said, "Well, I had the radical prostatectomy." "What did you do?" "Well, I did radiation seed implants." "What do you do?" "Well, I had a cryon surgery. I had it frozen." I talked to everybody. I researched. I became actively involved in the process. I read tons of books and talked to a lot of people, and I did a lot of other things in the process. I also went to healers. I had people praying for me. I traveled places from one end of the country to the other, went out of the country. Somebody told me about a lady down in Mexico. They drove me in a pickup truck. It's amazing what you do when you are diagnosed with a life-threatening disease. And so I'll never forget, they took me to this isolated area like a farm someplace. It was late at night, about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Took me in this room out there by myself, a light hanging out from the ceiling. And I was sitting in a chair. And so this lady comes in with a Bible, and she's known to have these healing hands. And someone had recommended this person to me because they had a relative who went there, and this lady prayed for them, and they were healed. And so I said, "Okay, I'll try it." I was in that area anyhow to give a speech, and so I went out there. So she came in, she spoke in Spanish to her son, and he said, "My mother said, take your clothes off." And so I went in another room, and I took my clothes off, and I came in, I sat back in the chair in my underwear. He said, "Everything." I said, "Okay." So I took my underwear off. I sat in the chair. So she came back in. I'm sitting with my hands all crossed in front of me. And so she came and reading the Bible in Spanish, and she had an egg in her hand, and she took the egg and, pow, bust me in the head. Little egg yolk and everything coming on down my face. I'm sitting up there. I begin to cry and say, what am I doing here? What have I done? Why am I here going through this? Ladies praying in Spanish. I can't understand a word. Then she touched me a few times, and I gave her $200, and then they drove me back to the hotel with egg all in my head. So I started reading all kind of healing books. I was going to all kind of prayer services. I increased my tithes by 30%. I went through everything you can think of. I became very spiritual. Well, it's amazing how spiritual you think you go. I mean, it's amazing how spiritual you get when you think you're going to die, right? So anyhow, I was running. I was on the run. I was scared. And I found people talking to me, and people who I'd once encouraged and motivated and inspired, now they were telling me the same things I used to tell them. I started even listening to my old tapes, saying, say something to me, motivator, say something. And something Zig Ziglar said, that fear is false evidence appearing real. I was being driven by my fear. I was afraid. And so one of the first things that I think it's important that you do is mobilize your mind and spirit. See, when the Wright brothers first had people come out to see them lift an aircraft off the ground, it was only up in the air for just a few seconds. What they knew was that if we can hold it up for just a few seconds, it's possible we can do it longer. And then it dawned on me, if a Lance Armstrong and other people that I've met, and he had a 5% chance of survival, if he could survive, and look at what he's doing with his life, then it's possible that I can survive. And that if you or I know people who've survived for years living with cancer, over 9 to 10 million people that are living with cancer, then it's possible that we can be among that number. Many people are dying not from the disease, but from their minds. That if you have a fatalistic mindset that this is your destiny, that you're going to die, it's a death sentence, then you're out of here. So first of all, what I want you to know, regardless of how serious your condition might appear to be, judge not according to appearances, that I want you to know, in spite of what the doctors might have said to you, in spite of the pain and the conditions and all of the numbers that they're sharing with you, what I want you to begin to know is that it's possible that you can survive. I'm not saying that you can. I'm not saying that you don't use and follow the directions of your doctor. I'm saying that, first of all, before anything can take place, you've got to believe in your heart of hearts that it's possible that you can beat this. Now, here's the other thing is, it's necessary. See, some people, ladies and gentlemen, go down without a fight. All of us are going to die one day. How do we know that? From the day we're born, we know we're going to go. Nobody has survived life. You can't get out of life alive. You got to die to leave here. However, we, I believe, can be participants. We can be active participants in our being here, or we can be victims. We can allow someone to tell us when we're going. In fact, I remember reading a book called The Dynamic Laws of Healing about two men who received a report after going to get a physical examination from the doctor. One said, you have a clean bill of health. Your health is great. And he left there and went on about his business and lived for another 20 to 30 years. The other was told that his health was in danger, that he perhaps had 3 to 4 months to live, and he should get his affairs in order because of the life-terminating illness that he was suffering with. And sure enough, this guy died within 3 months. Years later, it was discovered it was a clerical error. Many people die because of their mindset, because of their belief, because they give up, because they surrender, because they give more power to the disease than they give to themselves. I read something once that said, there are no incurable diseases, they're just incurable people. So you've got to decide, you've got to say, it's possible that I can beat this. And it's necessary. You've got to mobilize your mind and your spirit. It's necessary that I do this. There's nothing as powerful as a made-up mind. I remember reading The Biology of Hope by Dr. Norman Cousins, who laughed his way back to wellness. And he talked about that laughter just that produces endorphins. It's inner jogging. And that as a result of watching a lot of funny movies, and I laugh a lot. I make myself laugh. I do a whole lot of stuff to help myself stay here. But most importantly, talked about the biology of hope. That when there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. That as you begin to believe that it's possible, that I can find a solution, that there is a healing, that there is a cure for me, and that it's necessary. I'm not through yet. I got some things I've got to do. I've got some purpose that I've got to fulfill. I'm not through yet. I got grandchildren. I'm going to see my great-grandchildren. I've got some work. I have an assignment that's incomplete. I'm not through yet. I'm not going out like this. I'm going to fight. And it's necessary that you make some different choices. You got to mobilize your mind and your spirit, and you've got to make choices that indicate to your body that you plan to be here. By what you put in your mouth, being selective. We know that in order to stay here longer, we've got to start eating more vegetables and more fruits. We know this. You got to decide. You got to affirm. Nothing tastes as good as health feels. I'll never forget when I went to a health institute for so-called terminally ill patients, and they told us, it was in California, they told us not to leave the premises because of the fact that if you go out off the premises through advertising and everything that you see the billboards, it's going to create a hunger and thirst, and you're going to eat junk food. And you in the room, you can't have television, you don't get newspapers, radio, nothing. You're really cut off. You're isolated in this healing environment. Well, the people next door to me had just gotten there, and I can hear them talking through the door, and they were disgruntled because the family members wanted to stay with the family member who had cancer, but they wanted to eat regular food. They say, we don't have cancer. There's a Colonel Sanders up the road there. We just want to go up there. We'll eat it there, and we'll come back. We won't bring it back here. Well, I heard that, and I said, I remember that Colonel Sanders. So I decided, wow, I want some chicken. But I don't want to eat a lot of chicken. I like the tips of the wing. I just want a tip of a wing, maybe just a wing, that's all. You know, one little wing won't kill me. So I sneaked off the campus and started walking in the direction of Colonel Sanders, and I saw the sign in a distance, and I picked up a little trot. As I got closer there, I heard a voice. It said, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. died in Memphis, Tennessee, for garbage collectors, helping them to gain their civil rights. Malcolm X took the bullet so African Americans could have the ballots. And the voices in my head started talking about other great people who had died for great causes. And then a voice said, Les Brown died for a chicken wing. I said, oh my God, no. So by the time I got there and I came in, tears coming down my face, and they said, may I help you? I said, I'm not going to die for a chicken wing. She said, well, don't. Oh my God. And so I left and I went back on the campus and I followed the program. I started taking wheatgrass, eating all kind of rabbit food, exercising, doing yoga, prayer. Somebody said that cancer cells are cells going crazy. You've got to mobilize your mind and spirit and get stress out of your life and just calm yourself and get centered and begin to focus on healing yourself. Disease, dis-ease, there's dis-ease in your body. So it's necessary that you start making good choices in terms of your eating habits. Everything I put in my mouth says to my body, I plan to be here. And we have to start moving. I read where just exercise alone 3 times a week will decrease by 30% one getting cancer, or decrease by 32% cancer spreading. 3 times a week. Well, I said, wait a minute. They say I have prostate cancer, so I started exercising 3 times a day, 7 days a week. I wanted to say to my body, I'm serious. I don't plan to have cancer for the rest of my life. This is not going to take me out. So the other thing that's important is ask for help. Not because you're weak, but you want to remain strong. And ask for help and don't stop until you get it. And so I started talking to other people who had gone through my experience, and we became support for each other. It's very important that we start talking and sharing and communicating our fears and our reservations and looking at different options. I decided to take an option after examining a lot of things that I felt that had the minimum amount of risk for me and that would be suitable for me and for my lifestyle of traveling and doing all the things that I do. The other thing that's important is not only must you mobilize your mind and spirit and have a regiment for yourself of prayer and meditation, of exercise, of eating correctly, of taking a variety of herbs. And I took everything. Well, which ones do you recommend? Well, I was taking so many, they were fighting inside of me. He said, get back. That's my job. No, get back, Noni. No, come on, wheatgrass, you get back. Get back, saw palmetto and zinc and vitamin E and selenium. I was taking everything. Some days I say, eaty, beady, bitey, boo. I think the cancer say, wait a minute, this is a crazy man we're in here. We need to get out of here. He's going to kill everybody. So the other thing is, you got to have a sense of humor. You got to laugh. I never tell you what. If you don't learn to laugh at yourself, it's in this, and sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying, it will drive you crazy. Now, so I find a lot of things to laugh at. Don't let the little kid die within you. I laugh quite a lot. So, and I found out that just 1 minute of anger, according to the laws of psychoneuroimmunology, weakens your immune system for 4 to 5 hours. But 1 minute of laughter boosts your immune system for over 24 hours. I say, get out of here. So I laugh quite a lot. Okay, by the time you get through listening to this, you ain't going to get sick for 10 years. Okay, healing is here already. The other thing is this. As you look at yourself, look in the future, ask yourself this question. What's your reason for being here? I never forget my mentor told me, he said, Les, you're going to die. I said, why would you say that, Mike? He said, I see you scrambling and running scared just trying to live, but why? What will be different because you're here? What would you do with the time that you have left? What's your assignment? What's the purpose of your life? Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. Where are you, Les? In terms of your dreams, in terms of your gifts and abilities, in terms of your contribution. Wow. I've done some things I feel good about, but I feel that I have a lot more to give. And I start searching myself and thinking about and probing what would I do with the time that I had left. And one of the things I think that's very important, you don't have time to sit around feeling sorry for yourself. We are not given the luxury of being depressed. You've got to get actively involved in doing something that gives your life a sense of meaning and purpose and power. Statistics indicate that more people die after Christmas than any other time of the year. Perhaps they've said, Lord, I just want to see one more Christmas. So therefore, I got some new goals. Find some goals that you can immerse yourself in. Find some things that you can do that resonates with your spirit, that gives your life a sense of meaning and purpose. Many times when I was in pain and uncomfortable, by becoming involved in other things and not focusing on me and giving away my love and my support and my energy and my focus on something else, it decreased my feeling sad or being depressed, and it decreased my physical discomfort. So what is it that you can immerse yourself in? What is it that can give your life a sense of meaning and purpose? Now, I'm not saying go out and just wear yourself out. You've got to get proper rest and sleep, but find something that gives your life a sense of meaning. I believe that we all have an assignment, and all of us showed up to do something that we must do before we leave. Finding something, a cause greater than yourself, maybe participating in a marathon, maybe finding something in your community or in your church that can give your life a sense of meaning. And involving yourself in church alone has its benefits of healing and strengthening your immune system and giving you a sense of comfort. Being around in a spiritual environment, reading scripture, getting up in the morning, spiritualizing your thoughts, all of those things, I think, are very important. They've been very helpful to me. The other thing I think that's very important is detoxify your life. You know, even though there are a lot of people that's dying because of what they eat, because they say 87% of cancers can be avoided by changing our lifestyle, even millions are dying because of what's eating them. Detoxify your life. There's some people, ladies and gentlemen, that are not good for you. You have got to look at your life, look at the people in your life, and ask the question, what is this relationship doing to me? I want you to keep this in mind. Love those who love you more, and devote yourself less to those who don't. There's some people, no matter what you do, no matter what you give them, they're not going to love you. There's some people that are not good for you. There's some people that if you fool around with them long enough will send you to an early grave, that will drive your blood pressure up, that will turn your hair gray overnight. There's a new terminology in psychiatry called relational illness. You've heard people say, you make me sick. Some people can make you sick. Can make you sick. I'm telling you. I like what George Washington said. He said, it's better to be alone than to wish you were. I'm telling you. So who is it you need to get out of your life? You need to ask yourself the question, what is this relationship doing to me? It might be your spouse. It might be your children. It might be friends. It might be your job making you sick, stressing you out. And you being a volunteer victim, are you willing to die for it? Have you so indulged in such a level of self-loathing that life no longer has any more meaning and value, and that you are just ready to surrender? Are you there? I hope you're not. Life happens to all of us. I've got a saying on one of my motivational messages: when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. I mean, in a very short period of time, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer and she passed. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I went through a divorce from someone that I love very much. My best friend, he died. Just all kind of things happened to me. I had a nationally syndicated show that was canceled. A lot of things happened to me all at once. It's called life, and it's not personal. You can't say, well, why did this have to happen to me? Why not you? I saw a sign that said, when things go wrong, don't go with them. It's possible that in spite of everything that's going on right now, that you can survive. And it's necessary that you take charge, that you begin to stand up with inside of yourself, that you dry your tears and you're not given the luxury of feeling sorry for yourself, that you get busy, you start doing research and asking questions, that you got to get in a fighting mode. You can't surrender. In order to beat cancer, you can't be a chump. You got to fight back. You got to stand up and start. So wait a minute, what is it I need to do? You got to make yourself move, even if it hurts. Do something. Move a finger. Do something. A friend of mine's father was dying from prostate cancer, and she said, you better get up. You better get up and start moving. And he started moving, and he's still here. He's still here, still moving, still fighting, and still living a life of contribution. It's possible, it's necessary, it's you. It's not your doctor. It's not your family. It's not the medication. It's not the herbs. It's you. L.C. Robinson said things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. Many people have been written off and said, this one won't survive. And they did. Recently, a young lady was bitten by a bat, had rabies, didn't have the shot. Nobody in the history of the world ever survived without rabies shots. Once they've been bitten and gotten rabies, she survived. First one in the world. Hey, now everybody know it's possible. It's possible. It's you. It's you. Your immune system, your belief, your faith, your drive, your determination, your persistence, your perseverance, your spirit, greater is He that is in you than what's out here in this world. It's you. You got to talk to yourself. Sometimes healing takes place first in the spirit. You got to talk to yourself. And I would go for walks and say, every step, every day, and every way, I'm getting better and better. Every step I take, I'm getting better and better. And it's hard. I wish I could tell you all you have to do is just think positive and be enthusiastic and everything will be all right. Ain't that kind of party. It's hard. I never forget, I was in the hospital, about 4 or 5 different doctors came in. Everybody wanted to check me out and give me a prostate examination. All these new students, I say, hey, shop is closed today. No, I'm giving you all permission to share notes. Ain't nobody coming up here today. No, I ain't showing y'all nothing. Ain't nobody looking, I ain't turning over. No. Go out there in the hall and talk to each other. No, ain't nobody looking at me, poking me, sticking me. No, I ain't going in no chamber today. No, church is out. Oh my God, it's hard. Sitting up in the hospital in the little gown and people coming in, everybody looking at each other. Some people, I wonder why they're in the hospital. I saw one man bald-headed, got a little tube in his nose, walk around with little oxygen tank, and smoking. I want to say, look, give me that. Take that thing out your nose. You ain't trying to live. Take your little bald head butt on home. You ain't trying to live. Hey, I'm trying to live. I'm going to tell me what I need to do to cooperate with the process. What I found out, a lot of people don't want to live. They want to die. I think we should let them go. Don't waste medicine and time and energy and hospital space. Oh, you still smoking? No problem. Great. Don't come here gone. Oh, didn't we tell you to get that fat off you? Oh, you don't want to exercise. You just want to come here and waste our time. You ain't got nothing else to do. Don't bring that up in here. No. You got to do what's necessary to keep you here. It's hard. I know it's hard, but do it hard. It's hard. Keeping your spirits up, getting up every day, knowing and feeling that death is watching over you and say, you better sleep with one eye open because I'm waiting on you. It's hard to keep your spirits up, to be motivated, to be encouraging, and people stop speaking to you because they think you're dying. And don't let them owe you some money. They sure ain't going to come around this. I'm telling you. It's hard when you're hurting, when doctors are telling you all kinds of things. It's hard with all these messages in your head. It's hard. You got bills, you got responsibilities. Whew. It's hard. Easy, it's not an option. But it's worth fighting. It's worth believing. It's worth giving yourself a chance. It's worth mustering yourself up, standing up inside yourself. It's worth fighting relentlessly, never giving up. It's worth it. When you think about life as God's gift to us and how we live our lives as our gift to God, it's worth fighting a good fight. It's worth continuing to find all of the information and research that's out there and experimenting and looking at and trying and testing different ways. It's worth being around motivated, positive people. It's worth being up-tempo. It's easy to have faith and feel good when you're feeling good and you have no pain and your bills are paid and your children acting like they have good sense and you got a clean bill of health from the doctor. It's easy to be motivated then, but when that's not the situation, it's hard. When you look in the mirror and you don't see the person that you once saw. When you're going through all type of medical examinations and you don't know what's going on and they're giving you conflicting information. It's hard to keep your spirits together. But it's worth it. You can do it. You can do it. I'm telling you what I know. You're more powerful than you realize. You've had some experiences. You've gone through some stuff already. Or maybe this is just the beginning. Or maybe you've seen someone going through some things right now. It's hard to see someone that you love suffering. I remember when my mother was dying of breast cancer. It was hard being there with her, praying with her. And here's this woman who adopted my brothers and sisters and I. And when I fell as a kid, she would kiss the part to make it well. And there I was, my protector, my strength, my best friend. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't take Mama's place. I couldn't replace the pain. I couldn't stop the pain. All I could do is pray with her and hold her hand. It's hard. Life is hard sometimes. But here's what I know. That in spite of the things that we are experiencing, we don't just want to go through them, we want to grow through them. And when you do, I can tell you that you will discover some things about yourself. You take the time to pray, to get quiet, to get silent, to go within. That you'll step into a zone. When you give it the best that you can, when you keep on trying, you're seeking, you're asking, you're knocking, something happens. It's like the universe opens up. I believe in angels. And I'm a product of people praying for me and my praying for myself. I'm a product of exercise and prayer and meditation and eating a lot of rabbit food. I dream about stuff I used to eat every day. I want it so badly, but nothing tastes as good as health feels. Hey, I know from my own life, you are more powerful than cancer. And if you want to know more, I want you to contact me at lesbrown.com. And I share with you a regimen that I go through, prayers and affirmations and fun activities and things that I do, and healing workshops and seminars and support teams, healing teams that we've organized that might have some value for you. You are more powerful than cancer. I wish you the very best. It's possible that you can win this battle, and it's necessary, and it's you, and it's hard, and it's worth it. And once you know it's worth it, stick a fork in it. It's done. You're healed. Healing takes place first in the spirit. Judge not according to appearances. My favorite book says, you must call forth those things that be not as though they were. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. You are more powerful than cancer. Bless you.